Okay, so I've just made a little TV here, and I'm going to demonstrate how to map a model with multiple shaded zones or shading material zones. So you see in the shading tree I've got a decal, a frame and a screen, and each of those can have their own map. So it's going to look a bit strange when we finish, because they'll all be overlapping each other, but that's okay because each can have their own map. And I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so first of all I'm going to do the frame, and for that, in the UV room, let me just turn that off so we can see it. I'm going to hit the 4 key, which is material selection, select on the frame, and then Alt convert to polygons, and then Shift H. So I've just got that selected, or visible rather. So let's get into a front view. I'm going to select the sides and unwrap them, and then I'll select the tops and the bottoms and unwrap those. So you see we have very similar pieces there, and I'll just double click on this remaining piece, which is the back, and I'll unwrap that. Now for these, while I've generally kind of merged things together and tried to have as fewer islands as possible, this is one instance where I wouldn't. And the reason for that is, if I was to put a grain on this, I would want the grains to be all going in the same direction, and if I sewed them together that wouldn't be possible. So what I'm going to do is orient pieces horizontally. So I've got Shift held down, I'll click orient and then pack. Okay. So whenever I put a texture on this, they're all going to go in the same direction. If this were a wood grain going from left to right, it's going to show correctly on each of those pieces. But these seams in the corner are going to show a bit of construction, as if, you know, that's how a frame would be. And while that wouldn't necessarily be right on a television, this is the same method you would use for a framed picture. That's why I chose this. It's a bit of a multi-piece really. So that's the TV part done, and I'm just going to hit unhide, sorry, with the U key, and then we'll do our little decal down here. I'm going to double click on it because it's not joined to the model, and then Shift H, and all I'm going to do here is select the front part. So if I get to like a right hand view, I can middle mouse drag box over that and hit unwrap. And then I want to select the sides. Oops, that's already got that side, and hit unwrap. And then I'll double click on these islands here because that's what's remaining, and hit unwrap. And these I am going to sew together because it's likely to be a shader. It's likely to not really be very visible or important. So for those I'm going to just move and sew selected, and move and sew selected on these ends here. There we go. So that's that one. Excuse me. And then I can pack this, and all we've got left to do is the screen. So you can see that for these pieces, these are the bits I've mapped so far. They're overlapping each other. It's okay. They're on different maps, and it doesn't really matter. However, it's a little bit wasteful, and they are of different sizes. So I'm just going to press Shift H and hit pack, and I'm going to turn those into essentially what could be one map. So while this is on a slightly different island, it's scaled correctly, it's scaled consistently with these other pieces, but it hasn't got its own map. For some of that small, I probably wouldn't have a whole map for it unless I wanted it to be really detailed. Okay, so the last thing on this then is the screen, and because this is a screen, or it could be a picture, there's another method of doing it, and I'm going to do that in the next video.